Hi, Paul Slack, it's Good News Planet. Speaking of Paul Meyer. Hi, Paul, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, very excited to have you here, mainly because we have this relationship with Text for Baby here at Good News Planet and working on a bunch of video outreach for some of the texts, as well as a corporate video, and I know you're a co-founder, or one of the founders of Text for Baby. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks for your support and thanks for having us.
Tell us how you got involved with Text for Baby a little bit, and then we're going to talk about your company.
Well, Text for Baby was an idea that came about out of some conversations that I had with some folks at CDC and the White House, looking to really demonstrate the potential of mobile health in the U.S. And those initial conversations led us to start Text for Baby.
Okay, and your own company. Give us a little bit of background, how you started that, because you're a co-founder.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, beginning of 2001, we had sort of the crazy idea that cell phones could be used for more than just making phone calls, and that they might be able to have something to do with the healthcare system. And so we started Voxiva really with the idea of leveraging the increasing scale of cell phones to try to use them to move information to make health systems work better.
Now, your company has been recognized as a fast-growing, important company. You've gotten some awards and so on and so forth. Why do you think they're giving them to you?
Well, yeah, no, Fast Company magazine just recognized us as one of the 50 most innovative companies in the world, and I think the #3 in healthcare and #3 in mobile. I think we've probably been recognized because we were, for a long time they thought we were crazy. So I think I always joke about 7 or 8 years we were the crazy people in the wilderness talking about cell phones and healthcare and how they could be put together. So finally, after about 7 years or 8 years of being the crazy people, I think people finally caught on to this idea, and it's really becoming mainstream.
Now, you had something to do with Kosovo, if I'm saying that right. Were you involved with that country to help them with health concerns?
That was actually a long time ago, before I started Voxiva. Just after the war in 1999 in Kosovo, I co-founded a company called IPCO, IPKO, which started as an internet service provider, a wireless internet service provider. We were, just after the war ended, I was in Kosovo and realized the communications infrastructure had been destroyed, and that there were all these NGOs and UN agencies rushing in to help, and they all needed to communicate. And I'd heard from a colleague about this crazy idea that you could send internet through the air, which later became known as Wi-Fi. It wasn't known as Wi-Fi then. And had this idea that we could get a satellite dish and use Wi-Fi to provide internet service to all of these organizations that were rushing into Kosovo. And so we started doing that, and we built what started as an internet service provider, providing internet service to all the UN agencies, all the NGOs. We actually then gave free service to the universities, schools, hospitals, libraries. IPCO became really the leading national internet service provider, and then over the last now 12 years went on to become the cable TV company, fixed line phone operator, and now the leading mobile phone operator in Kosovo as well.
How about yourself? What's a little bit about your background? What interested you in communications and/or in helping people with who are in need?
Well, I've had a bit of an eclectic background. I started in politics. I started as a volunteer on Bill Clinton's first campaign in 1992, and then went into the White House with him and became one of his speechwriters. Then went to law school. Decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. I spent 6 weeks as a summer associate. Ended up helping to start a nonprofit called Endeavor that works to promote entrepreneurship in Latin America. Then ended up working on a project, a refugee reunification project in West Africa. That then took me to the Balkans during the Kosovo War, and I just sort of followed one idea after the next.
And your passion to do that kind of a let's say non-traditional, went to one place, stayed there 9 to 5 for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's not you.
No. Well, I've been at Voxiva 10 years, so that's a long time.
There it is. What attracts you about that, Voxiva?
Well, I think that we're doing something that's really important. I think that we're we're using technology to solve really important problems. When we started, we were really focused more on how health systems work. Right? So some of the first implementations and services that we built allowed rural health workers, for example, to report outbreaks of disease using their cell phones. So rural health workers, whether in Peru or Rwanda or India, would use their cell phones to report in how many cases of cholera in their village. That data was then going in real time into a server, into our system, so that health authorities at a regional level, national level, could log on through the internet, look at a map, and see cases of cholera popping up in real time to be able to track and manage outbreaks of disease.
The future of your company? What areas do you see you getting into?
Well, now, while we started focusing, on things like, health systems and disease surveillance and systems to track distribution of drugs in Africa, we've over the last, 3 or 4 years, really focused much more on consumer and patient-facing services. Right. So what we do is we provide a broad range of services that help support people with information to manage their health and live healthier lives. And so that's what we're really focused on. We're focused on things like Text for Baby, which is an information support service for pregnancy, or Text to Quit, which is our smoking cessation program to help people who have decided to quit, help them quit. We operate a service called Care for Life, which is to support people who have diabetes, who've really been newly diagnosed with diabetes, to help them remind them to take their medication, attend appointments, help them learn about their condition and manage their diabetes more effectively.
So let me ask how, say, Text for Quit, how does that work? So say I'm a smoker and I want to quit. Do I sign up somewhere? Do I go to...
Yeah, you sign up on the web, or you can text in and sign up that way. And you start by setting a quit date. And maybe that's 3, 4, 5 weeks out. You set goals, how many cigarettes you want to reduce. You provide your motivations for quitting, and then through those those next several weeks and months, we're interacting with you. We're providing you with tips and motivation. We're asking you how many cigarettes you smoked and congratulating you if you're beating your goals, with the idea of just providing the positive reinforcement that helps you get to that goal and to stay quit after.
And do I pay you a certain amount of money for your help?
Well, Text to Quit usually is a program that's provided by your employer or your insurance company. They pay for it, so it's a free service to you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, quitting smoking is hard enough. We don't want to make you pay more to make it harder.
So that's great. So you've built some partnerships with the large healthcare services that'll allow that to be a benefit for an employee.
Exactly.
Great news.
Yeah.
That's great. That's super. What other ones? Just
with a program around diabetes.
Diabetes. All right. That's
Care for Life. Same model. Exactly.
Oh, great. All right. So because do people know this?
Well, hopefully they'll start to know more. I mean, certainly people know about Text for Baby, and I think one of the reasons that we started Text for Baby was we wanted to really open America's eyes to the potential of mobile health. It's interesting, the rest of the world has really been actually in some ways much farther ahead of the US in terms of using mobile technology and certainly mobile health. And one of the reasons that is, I think in the US, we operate on the assumption that the internet would be everywhere. Right, so if you think about all of the innovation and creativity that went into the internet, and .com era and since, so much creativity and energy went into creating online and internet-based services and businesses. In developing countries, the internet still isn't a reality. So all of that creativity and innovation went into the tool that is there, which are cell phones. And so that's why, in some ways, developing countries are actually pretty far ahead in terms of using mobile technology to deliver all kinds of innovative services. So when we decided to sort of turn our energies to the U.S. and see what we could do in the U.S. healthcare system, it was initially we were in counter resistance. People didn't quite understand. Again, I think people still thought the internet would be ubiquitous and just you could go online for everything. And so we designed Text for Baby and developed it really as a proof of concept, as an eye-opener. And now, thanks to the success of Text for Baby with 500 partners and 170,000 subscribers, now all of a sudden everyone's saying, oh, wait a second, why are we doing this for smoking or diabetes or other conditions? And of course our answer is, we are. Give us a call.
That's great. So is Marshall McLuhan your cousin, your uncle, your grandfather, the medium is the message?
No, but I've certainly read his work.
You obviously have. There's no doubt about it. You went to #1 communications device in the world, and it's marvelous that you're using it for the good.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Last quick question for you. What's good news for you?
What's good news for me?
Yes.
Other than having 2 healthy, happy 13-month-old twins.
Which is the greatest news.
Which is great. I have pictures. If you want to show pictures.
Yeah, I love them.
No, I mean, we're just so thrilled and with the progress and success of Text for Baby. It is so wonderful to see, to have helped create what really has become a movement. I mean, Text for Baby has really become a kind of a grassroots revolution in our healthcare system. And this healthcare system, this country, is pretty slow and lethargic and complicated. And it's pretty rare that something just captures the imagination and spreads so quickly. I mean, we have, we'll soon have all 50 state health departments as Text for Baby partners. We have 72 health insurance companies. Health insurance companies are not usually the most sort of nimble, fast-moving institutions. And so, this idea, it has been such a thrill to see the appeal and the spread of this baby spread and ultimately do a lot of good for the moms that we're reaching, and we believe really demonstrating a fundamentally new model for how the healthcare system in this country can work.
It's the future of humanity. Babies.
Well, we'll see. Oh, babies are.
Babies are the future.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.